So what lies ahead in Durham? It's Chester Street, it's New Zealand taking on England, and that's going to be quite an exciting fixture. We said at the start of the tournament, New Zealand wouldn't mind playing up in Durham against England, and just because they're a third and fourth, it makes it for such a fabulous fixture.
It does, doesn't it? It's essentially a quarter-final, right? Or a pre-quarter-final that actually takes you to makes you qualify to the quarters. Actually, quarter-final, right? So, I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I think it's going to be extremely entertaining. It's going to be very hard fought, and I think there's going to be enormous amount of intent shown tomorrow, where both teams will come hard at each other and they'll play with a point to prove. I think my only concern would be New Zealand's batting. I'm not really concerned about their bowling. I really would love their batting to come good tomorrow for this to be a very interesting game to watch.
Particularly right up at the top, because they went through so many games in the tournament without making any changes. They kept saying, yes, Kaptil, Munro, we've got full faith in you. Finally, they put Munro aside, got Henry Nicholls in. Didn't do too much. Now this is a Kaptil factor they still need to consider. They're not going to drop him, but he needs to come good.
They just need to start from him. I mean, you can't have, it's been a spectacular fall for him in effect. He was the highest scorer of 2015 World Cup, and he comes to this World Cup and just doesn't seem to be getting the runs. It's a big challenge for them because their big problem is that they're so dependent on Williamson and Taylor. So basically what they're doing is only their middle order is firing. Top order is not firing, finishers are not firing. So Grandholm, Neesham are giving you no consistency. They've both got a couple of big knocks, but nothing, they've not consistently delivered for you, nor has the top order. And that's their big worry. And if one of these two need to come good, it may not be that both come good, but either the top order comes good or Grandholm and Neesham give it to them. Somebody needs to fire other than Williamson and Taylor for them to win.
Yep.
You know what's interesting, Gautam? I feel if you see New Zealand's victories in this tournament, whenever they've won, it's been a team effort. Whenever they've lost, they've only been individual performances. It's not been a team effort, so to speak.
Which are those last two games?
Yeah, which are those last two games. You see those last two games, because even in the game against, for instance, the game against South Africa, where Kane Williamson held one end up, Ross Taylor performed well, and then
Grandholm came and got that big knock.
Came in and played that knock, and you could see that the bowlers did really well, and then the batsmen also contributed, and it was a team effort. So I think what they really need to do is come together and pay more attention, give more energy towards that. The fact that they come together as a team and perform well together as a unit, and they need to bring that up a little bit more. I think if they can decide to do that, or if they can reproduce that, then they'll have a very good game tomorrow.
Yes, let's have a look at the team actually, the New Zealand team, and see if we figure there's any possible changes we're thinking there. The only person whose name has not been mentioned at all, Tom Blundell, because they've been going with Tom Latham throughout. But I heard Simon Dool briefly mention it. Tom Latham's getting his last chance. Do you think Tom Blundell now gets a look in? They rate him very highly there.
Look, I'll tell you what. I'm really looking at it. There are two things that strike me. One is that I would throw Colin Munro at England rather than Henry Nicholls, and say, because finally at the end of the day, Henry Nicholls is a defensive bat. Colin Munro, if he gets going, can get it for you. Number two, with his record against England, he's an experienced bowler. I know he's not bowling the ball. I'd bring Tim Southee back.
And yes, I was just about to, took the words out of my mouth, because the last game I remember in a World Cup between them, I was there on the sidelines at the Cake Tin in Wellington. Guess what? Tim Southee took 7 wickets and blew England out of the park.
He did. Well, I don't know if they're going to make a change, to be very honest. It could happen.
The reason I'm saying it is, Ish Sodhi was in the playing 11. You're going up to Durham now, playing England.
Yeah.
So do you stick to Ish Sodhi, or do you get one of your pacers back, choice being Matt Henry or Tim Southee?
Then there could be a chance Southee plays. Again, it depends on what the team really wants. Henry Nicholls, I don't think they would let go of Joyda. I think they'll give him another go.
See, they're New Zealand. The only thing is that New Zealand always has that physique that no individual is bigger than the team. If they think that Munro gives them a better look and a better chance, they'll do it. And Henry Nicholls will sit out happily also, because that's them as a team since McCullum. They're completely team oriented. So they might do it. See, my point is that if they think England are a better team than them, average for average, then they'll do something to change the mix. That's my only thing, because I feel that New Zealand, if both teams play to their potential, you'll think England will win 8 times out of 10. So if I'm in that situation, I try and change something and give England a look which is slightly different. That's all. Which is why Southee maybe maybe throw Munro back. Who knows? I mean, but if I was New Zealand, I'd stir the pot. England would be saying continuity. We finally got it right. Jason Roy is back. All's well with the world. And New Zealand will be saying, let's stir it a bit and see where we go.
Yes, absolutely. And again, 8 times out of 10 also include the fact that England have got the winning momentum back. They've got things back on track. Big win against India. That'll stand them in good stead for this game against New Zealand. And New Zealand not coming off great momentum in their last couple of games. Let's have a look at the England squad, which once things have been put into perspective, Liam Plunkett played under those circumstances in Birmingham. In Durham, you'd assume that they'd continue to play him, though Moeen Ali just gives you that X factor, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, as in I think it would be, if they make a change, it would be between Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali. You know, I think if there's a change, that could be the only one. I don't see any other change happening. I think this team is quite up. There's a lot of J's up there, in that team. Just notice that.
Jason,
Josh, Johnny James. Oh, lovely.
Jofra.
Oh, Jofra. Yeah, he came a little down the order.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a J right here.
Yes.
Absolutely. But the one they're looking for is the Q, actually.
Yes. Yes, all the day. Well done.
Done.
Touche. But what you do meet in our circle, as in my 11th circle, is lots of competitive players who get on the site and play hard against each other. Sometimes, of course, you don't play hard against each other, you play hard against a chap called Saurav Ganguly. And that's what you've got to do when you get onto my 11th circle and select your team for England versus New Zealand. The promise remains true. Hashtag Dada Kavada. 5 times the amount of cash. He's keeping a close eye on everything that's happening between these two teams.